the birthday shout-outs today. Again, brought to you by Coca-Cola and by Yum. So, Beto Anglin celebrating his birthday today. Yesterday, Mr. Rail Roberts celebrated his birthday. Sean Banks celebrated his on the 31st. Rod Watler today. Tomorrow, Denise Watson Campbell will be celebrating her birthday. Also, Marilyn Jackson. And our own Miss April Cummings will be celebrating her birthday tomorrow as well. I hope we have a big party planned for her here at Radio Cayman. Miss April Cummings celebrating her birthday tomorrow. Pamela Ebanks celebrating her birthday tomorrow on June 3rd as well. If you know someone who's celebrating a birthday or any other momentous occasion, please share that information with us right here on For the Record, and we will give them a birthday shout-out brought to you by Coca-Cola, who are proud to support your birthday shout-outs. Coca-Cola available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. And by Yum. Daily school lunch menus are available to browse on the Yum website. Just visit yumcayman.ky for more information as well. Okay, let's see if we have any other shout-outs that we want to share. Well, let's see what happened today, June the 2nd, 1966, which gives, 59 years? Yep. 59 years. The headlines in our Tradewind newspaper was what? First of all, an introductory luncheon was held. And Mr. Cullen Panton, who is the director of Cayman Aluminum Construction Company, introduced the company to the Cayman Islands. Also, on that June 2nd, 1966 publication, it was announced that Cuba would soon be releasing Caymanians, allowing them to return or to come to the Cayman Islands. So in the midst of Cuban Prime Minister Fidel Castro's ranting and raving towards the United States to the north of Cuba, there is a quiet program of cooperation underway with the government of the Cayman Islands to the south. It was announced that week by Mr. J.A. Cumber, administrator, that lengthy attempts to obtain the release of Caymanian citizens now being restrained on the island of Cuba have at least begun to bear fruit. Negotiations, which are being handled through the British Embassy, have finally received the blessings of the Cuban Prime Minister, and some 75 Caymanians are being processed for repatriation. Of the 75 prospective, they referred to them as refugees at that time. This day and age, we would say they're returnees, Caymanians returning home. There are included a large number of children of tender years. Preliminary arrangements have been made to airlift the refugees, returnees, like I said, about 45 per flight by KLM, at that time, which was the Royal Dutch Airlines. says that in view of certain legal formalities between the various governments involved in this operation, Mr. Cumber said that the arrival of the returnees here in Grand Cayman should not be anticipated any sooner than late August or early September. Whatever the date of their arrival, it is certain that all Cayman will extend to them a warm and sincere welcome. So that was on the 2nd of June 1966. And those of you who may remember Loxley Airline, it said that Loxley Airline, the national flag carrier of Costa Rica, founded in 1945. So they spoke about Loxley and the anniversary of the founding of Loxley. Let's see any other local news there as well. Yes. This is one that Caymanians missed the bus on. And many Caymanians missed the bus on this one. If it was this day and age, it would be completely different. In 1966, a local registered company licensed to generate electricity in the Cayman Islands. Only 5,000 ordinary shares of par value each. There was offering shares. Sale of the shares opened at 8:30, Friday, June the 10th, 1966. Closes on the 25th of June. Each share applied for should be accompanied by a deposit of £5 shilling. Balance of 15 shilling per share will be issued. Will be due at the issue of the certificate. Board of Directors reserve the right to apportion the stock at their discretion if the issue is oversubscribed as well. Those days, the directors of Caribbean Utilities Company Limited were Robert Adair, Davis Elliott, J.A. Ewald, J.S. Shropshire, E.S. Levis, A.D. Langford, Alex Harrington, Jim Anders, and then, of course, I think these would have been the government representatives on the board of directors of Caribbean Utilities at that point in time. Mr. Warren Connolly, the late Warren Connolly, late T.W. Farrington, and the late Warren Connolly, late T.W. Farrington, and Captain Eldon Cockernell. They were all the directors. And in a publication prior to this, of course, there was some publications in there, some notices in relation to shares as well. How many of you know what the CUC was called? What was the government name of that enterprise, that entity, before it was sold to these directors, not including the Cayman representatives, because I believe that the government still retained some shares in the company at that point in time. But how many of you know what the name of the company was then? If you do, send it to us by WhatsApp or WhatsApp number 925-3261 if you know the name of the company prior to it being renamed Caribbean Utilities Company. With that, we're going to take our first commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Thomas Abraham E. Banks, 1882 through 1964. Mr. Abram is regarded as one of the patriarchs of West Bay. He started his life as a seaman and was miraculously saved during a storm that hit the Cayman Islands. Later in his seafaring career, he captained a mailboat which plied between Fort Myers and Okeechobee, Florida. Mr. Abram also pioneered the captive rearing of green turtles in Newtown or Governor Sound. Later in life, he started a small store. To augment his income, he became the collector of taxes in West Bay. When the government discontinued the discharge of cargo at West Bay, Mr. Abram was made the assistant warehouse keeper in Georgetown. His greatest contribution to the district was as an elder of the West Bay Presbyterian Church. Over the years, he influenced many young people to follow the straight path by his sermonettes and by his own example.
Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit caymanairways.com/cargo.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage, with tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our Custom Closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Ready for some real magic this summer? Coca-Cola is giving your family the chance to win a trip to the happiest place on earth, Disney World, Orlando. Just buy any 8-pack of Coca-Cola or Sprite products at participating stores island-wide for your chance to make this summer even more magical. Imagine the laughter, the memories, the adventure, all with an ice-cold Coca-Cola in hand. Coca-Cola, real magic is just a sip away.
We are in the hurricane season, and knowing what to do after a hurricane can be as important as preparing for the storm. After the passage of a hurricane, seek medical attention if it is needed at hospitals and clinics for those persons who are injured. Do not touch power lines and cables that are down. They may be active. Report them to 911 or the utilities emergency hotlines. Broken tree limbs should be removed from around homes or buildings if possible. This hurricane information has been brought to you by Breeze FM and Radio Cayman.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. I'm going to repeat this plea, that was put out, sent to us to ask us to please air it. A lady whose grandson was given a ride from Bordentown on Saturday evening by a male and female occupant of a vehicle. The person left a brown envelope in the vehicle that contained important documents that are urgently needed. So if that envelope has been found, or if you are the occupant or were the occupant of that car, please call 323-2323. That's the person who the documents belong to, and you can deliver them or they can retrieve them, from you. If it's only documents, there's really no reason why they shouldn't be returned to the rightful owner. Maybe the occupants of that vehicle were trying to determine exactly who they're for, and like I said earlier also, the writer of this should possibly check with the police stations as well to see whether or not it may have been left at a police station also. Any calls on hold, Ms. Susan? No calls? Okay. This is a good opportunity to share some government news with our listeners as well. And this one has to do with the new application process that has been established for ex gratia defined benefit pension. Now, there are in a pension world and within government, you have defined benefits, a defined benefits program, and you have a defined contribution program. The defined benefits are predetermined by the number of years that you have served and the salary that you were at when you ended your service. That will determine how much you get as far as your pensions is concerned. Defined contributions, your amount of pension that you will get upon retirement, once you reach that legal age, is determined by how much you put in. So defined benefits based on fixed numbers, defined contributions based on what you have put in. So the government has published, actually they did this on Monday the 26th of May, new regulations enhancing ex gratia pension benefits for Caymanian civil servants who, amongst other things, 1. Held an office in the public service prior to and continued to be employed after the 1st of January 2000. And number 2, who were eligible but failed to receive a contracted officer's supplement for their period of service prior to January 1st, 2000. And I believe that there are several persons who fall within that category, including, including bus wardens as well, I believe, may find themselves into this category. It goes on to say that the regulations allow for such persons to have an ex gratia defined benefit pension calculation apply not only to their pre-2000 period of service, but equally for all subsequent service until their retirement date. Okay? To determine your eligibility for this benefit, persons are required to submit a completed application to the Public Service Pension Board for consideration. The application process provides eligible individuals with a structured pathway to access this ex gratia defined benefits pension for their full years of service. This regulation further standardizes the pensions process, ensuring fair treatment for all eligible Caymanian civil servants while maintaining fiscal responsibility. This expanded facility provides eligible applicants with a defined benefit pension calculation which is applicable to their entire years of service and which will be paid on a monthly supplement when retired. Applicants must now submit their application using a standardized form to the Chief Executive Officer, Public Service Pension Board. Each application must include a letter explaining the grounds for applying for the grant of an ex gratia defined benefit pension, ex gratia pension application form, medical certification of permanent disability where that is applicable, original birth certificate or passport documentation, original status certificate where applicable, and copies of relevant service contracts. That last one may be a little bit difficult. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later on. It says the ex gratia defined benefits pension is calculated by paying the difference between the defined contribution benefits which these historical employees are currently entitled to and the defined benefit pension. The approved enhanced pension provision will be calculated using the same formula as standard defined benefits, as well. Okay, there's a little bit more to this, but what I'm going to say very quickly is that how many people really who fall within this pension are really able to understand this? And my question is a rhetorical one. Will we set up some sort of temporary office or something to help these people along with this process? With that, we're going to go to our 8 o'clock news. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is a minute after 8.
It's time to start preparing for this year's hurricane season, and Foster's has the essentials you need to weather a storm.
Stock up on canned goods, non-perishable foods, water, health and first aid items, pet supplies, flashlights, and other hurricane kit essentials.
Start preparing now using our online hurricane guide and emergency checklist. Just head to fosters.ky for more info. You can also follow us at Foster's Cayman on Facebook and Instagram for helpful tips throughout the season.
Foster's, better because we care.
The 8 a.m. News is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Cayman attends the 60th plenary meeting of the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force in Trinidad and Tobago. A key highlight was a presentation of Cayman's sixth and final follow-up report, with Cayman achieving ratings of compliant or largely compliant on all 40 Financial Action Task Force recommendations. Attorney General the Honorable Sam Bolgen tells Radio Cayman that's a distinction held by only a few select jurisdictions worldwide.
The achievements result from a collaborative and what I would describe as a whole-of-government approach, and underscore the Cayman Islands' position as a regional leader in AML CFT compliance.
During the plenary, CFATF members extended condolences to Cayman on the recent passing of Judy Ann Miles, head of the Anti-Money Laundering Division at the Monetary Authority and co-chair of the FATF's Joint Group of Americas, whose recent death is being investigated by police after her body was found in a burnt-out car in April. A, quote, unspeakable tragedy.
Her unwavering dedication, professionalism, and expertise were instrumental in advancing the Cayman Islands and the region's fight against money laundering and the financing of terrorism. Her unwavering dedication, professionalism, and expertise were instrumental in advancing the Cayman Islands and the region's fight against money laundering and the financing of terrorism.
The fifth round of mutual evaluations by the FATF is expected to start in March of next year. In other news, the National Conservation Council is meeting today. There are two new items on the agenda: the Environmental Impact Assessment screening for the Merritt Coastline development, along with the companion EIA draft motion. The proposed site is located towards the southern end of 7 Mile Beach and has seen, quote, significant beach erosion over time. The project proposal is for beach nourishment works and the construction of coastal defense structures with the aim of restoring the beach directly in front of the Marriott Resort. The proposed project includes beach fill and stabilization with the placement of 6,000 to 8,000 cubic yards of sand on the beach, rock stabilization structures, reconfiguration of reef balls, scour protection to help protect the base of the existing seawall, and debris removal. The Department of Environment is of the opinion that the proposed development does not require an EIA, as, quote, sufficient information has been provided to allow the assessment of the likely adverse effects. The new NCC will then vote on the draft motion based on the DOE's recommendation. You'll be able to watch today's meeting at 3:15 p.m. on the DOE's YouTube channel.
Together, we can weather any storm.
The 2025 Atlantic hurricane season officially started on Sunday, and the head of Hazard Management Cayman Islands said preparedness is not a one-time task. Quote, it's a way of life.
Hazard Management Cayman Islands, our theme this year is building a culture of readiness. That means being ready not just for the first storm or the next storm, but for any storm at any time. A culture of readiness starts at home. It's about knowing your risks, making a plan, and staying informed at all times. So today, I encourage you to take a few simple but important steps.
In a recorded message, HMCI Director Danny Coleman says you should review your family's emergency plan, know where you'll go and how you'll communicate, check your travel documents, and don't forget your pets, and make sure to download the NENS app.
And remember, now is the time to stock up on those essential supplies, not when the storm is already on our doorstep. Readiness is not just about today, it's about building habits and systems that carry us through every single season.
For more information, you can head to caymanprepared.ky. And this year's Lyra Parchment Battle of the Book saw a full day of students vying for the top spot. Winners?
It was Footsteps first, and then St. Ignatius was second in the senior division. We had 120 students here this morning with 50 volunteers, so it's grown that much.
Lyra Parchment Battle of the Book's co-founder Richard Parchment tells Radio Cayman, Cayman International School and First Baptist Christian School took first and second place in the junior division. Competition was held on Saturday. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with Justine Green. Russian and Ukrainian officials are holding a second round of talks in Turkey. Russia is expected to present its demands for a ceasefire, but the two warring sides still appear far apart. Ukraine and its European allies have been calling for additional sanctions to be imposed on Moscow. A Ukrainian official has said at least 13 Russian military planes were destroyed in Sunday's drone attacks on air bases. Kyiv said a third of Russia's fleet of strategic bombers was hit. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin are the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit caymanairways.com/cargo.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Britcade, where people come first.
A pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the very latest weather report. Current temperature is 85 degrees. Relative humidity is 67%. The barometric pressure is 29.99 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east-southeast at 9 knots. Overnight low temperature was 76 degrees. Synopsis indicate cloudiness and showers associated with the recent passage of a tropical wave is expected to linger across the northwest Caribbean for the next 24 hours, some of which may spread across the Cayman area at times, supporting cloudy spells and showers. Radar images show scattered showers in and around the Cayman area, moving towards the west. Now the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today, calling for partly cloudy skies, becoming cloudy at times, with a 60% chance of showers and possible thunder. Temperatures will rise to the low 90s with a heat index near 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Your winds will be east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. For tonight, we can expect partly cloudy skies becoming cloudy at times with a 40% chance of showers and possible thunder, and temperatures will dip to the low 80s tonight. Your winds will be east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts, and seas will be moderate to rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet. A small craft advisory is in effect for tonight. Low tide will be this morning at 10:20, high tide this afternoon at 4:43, and a low tide again tonight at 10:26. The sun will set this evening at 6:59 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:47. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Thursday morning. And that's the very latest on your weather report.
Mommy, why can't dogs talk? Why do I have to go to school and you don't? Why do you sing in the morning when you're bad at it? Why don't you brush your teeth when you take me to school? Why doesn't it ever snow here? Why does Daddy take the bus to work? Why are trees so tall? Why don't you tell me where babies come from? Mommy, Mommy, Mommy!
We're like a kid that doesn't ask a million questions before noon. CG Brit K. Good like that.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Brit K, where people come first. The 24th Annual Talent Exposition of the Arts, Joy, is here. Presented by the New Self-Help Foundation, Sunday, June 29th at the Hawkwill Theatre. Awesome performances by actress Caitlin Tyson, Erica Asai, Rico Rolando, Jade Dixon, Williams Quartet, Dequan Smith, UCCI Dance Company, Cayman Music School, Radiance Dance Studio, Centerpoint Dance Studio, John Gray Elite Strings, Lloyd Barker, Olajimi Lapierre, and more. Tickets cost $15 CI prepaid and $20 at the gate, and available from the #1 shoe shop and Winner's Circle Sports. Talent Exposition of the Arts, Joy, hosted by Anika Connolly and Lloyd Barker, June 29th at the Hawkwill Theatre. Gates open at 5 p.m. Show starts at 6 p.m. Part proceeds from this event to benefit the Foundation Educational Development Training Program of the Arts.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
On the move, let's get you up to speed with what's happening with your traffic. Coming from the east further up on Shamrock Road, traffic is flowing moderately. Further down, a different story as traffic steady flowing as you approach the Linford Pearson Highway. On Crew Road, heading to Georgetown, slow moving traffic. A lot of patience needed this morning, but you will get to your final destination. Coming off of the Linford Pearson Highway on Agnes Way, traffic also steady. Steady traffic coming off of Bobby Thompson Way and continuing on to Huldah Avenue. As we look to downtown Georgetown on Edward Street, flowing moderately, and into Georgetown on Shedden, looking pretty good. From the West Bay four-way stop, moderate flow of traffic. As we look to Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, flowing at a moderate pace. Coming off of the Ashley Tibbetts Highway, steady but flowing traffic, and continuing on to North Sound Road. Industrial Park area, moderate flow of traffic. Have you seen an accidents or incidents? Please let us know by calling us at 949-6990. And that's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes past 12. We'll give you another look at traffic.
Hungry? Need Subway any time of the day?
Yeah.
We've got you covered. Subway at Anderson Square, Centennial Towers, and Countryside Shopping Village is open 24/7, serving up fresh, delicious subs anytime you need them. And for your weekend cravings, West Shore Center is also open 24 hours on Friday nights and until 1 a.m. on Saturdays, because it's never too late for a great meal. Skip the line and order ahead with the Subway Cayman Islands app, or get your favorites delivered straight to your door with Bento and Let's Eat. Fresh, fast, and always here when you need us. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
Follow Radio Social media, X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Interact with our talk shows on YouTube. Download our official Radio Cayman app, or you can log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
on 925-3261.
All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio Cayman.
Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have a guest in the studio with us now. Meanwhile, if you're on Halder, anywhere in the vicinity of Halder Avenue, you may experience or may have experienced slight delays in that area. I think there may have been a fender bender in that area that would have been cleared by now. Meanwhile, we have a birthday shout out that I want to share as well. This person said that they'd like to wish Eileen Fern Smith, Miss Fern Smith, a very special and blessed 85th birthday coming from her sons, Richard, Gordon, and Claiborne, grandchildren, Chad and Brianna, siblings, Clarn, Blondie, Craddock, and Fady, and the rest of her family. May be she blessed with continued health and joy, peace and happiness. Thank you. Then the person also said they would also like to wish their first cousin, Marion Connery Miller, a very safe and wonderful day. May God bless her with many healthy and wonderful returns from Blondie and family as well. And let me tell you also that, Miss Clerney, she make a wicked cassava cake too, boy. Yeah, she can make a wicked cassava cake, Miss Clerney. Yeah,
I think Blondie can do.
Yes. Yeah. Blondie, a very tight knit family, yes, very close family, very tight. As well. So we have our Radio Cayman historian in the studio with us this morning, Mr. Loxley Banks. We're going to talk about some historic events in the Cayman Islands, some that may have led up to the creation of where we are today. And, the fact that you're hearing our voice right here on the air, the creation of Radio Cayman. Mr. Loxley, good morning, sir. Welcome to For the Record.
Well, OC is sorry. Good to be here. I wasn't planning this, but I got roped into it. Just to be true. And speaking of Radio Cayman, that my association with this project goes back some probably 65, 70 years, even though we didn't get on the air until 1976. But it goes back probably even further than that, because when I was in elementary school down at the town hall in West Bay, radio, this was right after the war had ended, and mainly the seafarers was coming back home, and they were bringing home radios, and radio listening, and you could listen to one of the stations that was really well listened to, liked around here, was WCKY in Cincinnati, and XCRF in Del Rio, Texas, and I think WSM Nashville also. But back in those days, they were AM stations, and they were what was termed as clear channel stations. Mm-hmm. Now, when the International Telecommunications Union, I think it was called back then, maybe still that way today, when those stations, those frequencies were allocated, it was allocated on the premise that nobody else could occupy a frequency basically that would cause any interference, would retard their signal from going out. And they were all, some of them 50,000 watt stations, AM stations, which, and the technical part of it, radio waves bounce, the AM waves bouncing wavelengths and all this stuff. If you did the right math, you could, you could get pretty good reception anywhere in the world. But a lot of those stations used to come in, and there was about 4 or 5 of us. I don't think there was any more, and this could have been going on in each district. But I know in West Bay was going on. There was myself, Cecil Bush, Owen Powery, J.B. Groves. You might relate to some of these J.B. Groves. And then there might have been another one. But we were all enthralled by this thing we call radio. In fact, one day, Miss Beulah caught us. And I don't know if you recall the old desk in the schools. It had a sloping top to it, you know?
Yeah.
And it was practical to write on. You know? But somewhere we saw a picture of what a radio console looked like. And, you know, as you see that one in there, the modern one still has a little slope. Some of them had, you know, and somehow we connected that and we were playing on radio. And holy, Miss Beulah knew something was going on. And I think we got a strapping for it. But, you know, and I guess as I kind of started maturing and so forth and so on, I had a few sessions with Mr. Malco.
Mr. Malco.
Yeah.
Yeah, Malcolm.
Yeah. And, you know, he operated the little building is still there right at the south terminal. He had a little radio shop there.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact,
I think they turned it into a gift shop or something
whatever
like that.
it is now,
Yes,
yeah. And, you know, actually, I guess when it comes right down to it, he was probably the first one to broadcast from Cayman soil. Because after the war, quite a number of people had what they call ship-to-show radios, which was not AM, but it was just above the AM band. And some of the homes also had radios that could receive this frequency.
Oh, yeah. I remember, you know, I would say that would have been in the 50s and the 60s.
Well,
we used to listen to Captain Shelby and the Kirk Trader and, you know, Mr. Allen.
Captain Alley, Captain Alley.
And Numerco and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Listen to
Captain
them.
Benson,
Yes.
Yeah, well, actually, that process, if you want to call it that, came in pretty quick after the war because the Marines bought the MISPA, you've heard of that, and the Numerco, and both of them was naval surplus. And they came in with a lot of equipment on them. The big radios, and they actually sold some of the radios off, and people bought them. You know, the only problem with it, you know, you had to have power to operate it, and the only people that bought the radios, if they had a car, they could operate the radio because you'd have to operate it from a car battery. And I think it was an election, something to do with an election. Anyway, he got on and made this proclamation, if you want to call it that, you know, the election's coming up and whatever. I don't know if anybody ever.
This was Mr. Malaco?
Yeah, Mr. Malaco, right from that little building down there.
Because he ran in an election. He actually ran in an election that was tied 3 times before it was resolved.
Yes.
200 and something votes, you know, each of them got. Yeah.
And actually,
he and Mr. Berkeley Bush, I think it was.
My first, I guess, major curiosity moment in this radio business, technical part of it and so forth and so on, was the family had a radio, but it went out. And by that time, dry cells, what they call dry cells, had started to come in. So you could get batteries to operate the smaller radios by that time. Transistors hadn't kicked in yet.
Right.
But what they call I think they call it miniature tubes. So therefore, everything was being downsized, and a lot of families by that time was getting these kind of radios. But anyway,
RCA was a big one those days. Yeah,
RCA, Helicopter, and Zenith, of course. And this radio went out, and you know, I was always fooling around with it up on the roof, putting antennas up, and back in those days, you had to have a ground, what they call a ground wire. If you didn't have a rod going down into the ground and a wire connected to the unit, you know, your reception was not going to be very good. You know? And we lived in our house down on Henning Beach in West Bay. The back door was 50 feet from the water. And somewhere along the line, I had learned that salt water is a good conductor. And I would back water. I'd back the salt water from the sea up to where this ground went into the ground and put it around it, but I couldn't get anything out of it. And my mother said, well, take it up to Mr. Malley and see if he can do anything. I took it up there. He opened it up and, he took his finger, and by that time I say the miniature tubes had come in. It's about the size of what's on this microphone here. And if the technical part about it, each tube has a filament. Yeah. Some of them have 2 or 3 filaments and a grid and all this kind of stuff. And if they sever, and if you turn the power on and kind of flicked it, if you had a good eye, you could see a little spark.
Okay.
And he did this, and he went to an old cigar box, because he had saved a lot of these things that had been, discarded. And he pulled out the tube, he looked at it, and I guess he figured, well, this will fit. And put it in, and radio came alive.
Wow.
I said to him, what'd you do? What'd you see? And I know he explained it to me, but I didn't really understand it until the later years when I was in engineering school and all this kind of stuff. And funny thing, when I came back home in 75, he was still alive. And I went down inside several conversations, and I related it to him. He says, yeah, he said, whether maybe he just said this to kind of,
placate you?
Yeah, placate me. He said, yeah, I saw the inquisitiveness on your eyes, not that. Yeah.
Now, there was another man who was involved in radio saying, some people thought that he was an American spy or, intelligence agent early on. And he lived in a trailer right to the southwest of Mr. Silby Coe's house. And he was a radio operator as well early on.
Well, like I say, after the war, a lot of this, in those days, it was top of the line technical stuff. Became surplus, Army surplus, Navy surplus. You could pick it up anywhere for $50, $50, that was how some of that happened. And I think once or twice I got to say something on one of the ships that came in here with Caymanians, because back in those days, if there was a Caymanian engineer, chief engineer on the ship, and sometimes there was Caymanian captain, they go and by, and they were stepping by Cayman.
Or even chief mates.
And sometimes they'd come in and, they were on a schedule. And the engineer would say, well, no, we ain't leaving tonight. And he'd find some way to delay it,
But it could be quite challenging and scary if they came by and they were empty, because then they're way out of the water, as opposed to when they're loaded and you have to, go up that gangplank, trying to walk up that as well. Some other, before we go to the commercial break, some other notable persons in Georgetown that I knew that were involved in radios as well. Mr. Claudius Glasgow, I believe, used to do radios, and then of course Mr. Claude Hill. Mr. Claude Hill was really, as a matter of fact, I believe he may have been one of the first to set up something where he could receive television signals, and you could, as well, Mr. Claude Hill. Both of them.
Well, I remember one time coming out here. This was probably in the late '60s, and having a conversation with Mr. Desmond about radio. Setting up a radio station here, and he said to me, Loxley, and it was somebody up to Windward, they call it. I don't remember his name. He called his name. He says, he is getting television. He's got a television. I said, well, Mr. Des, it's possible, because back in those days, the spectrum was not really crowded. Signals would sneak in here. That's what we call it, sneak in, depending on the atmosphere and all this kind of stuff. And he probably did receive, was receiving some probably couldn't tell what it was. But,
something. Yeah. Okay, we're going to go to a commercial break. We do have a caller as well. We're going to grab that caller as soon as we return. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit CaymanAirways.com/cargo.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite band-aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. Don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, our Radio Cayman historian. He knows all about the history of Radio Cayman because he was involved in its creation, as well. And of course, the first director did what's his name stay on after?
Roy Dunlop.
Roy Dunlop stayed on, and then you after that. Yeah. So before we go to our caller, I just want two things. Okay, caller's hung up. Hope we invite the caller to call back. Two things. 1966, in June of 1966, H.O. Marin and Company. That was a milestone for them, 60 years in business, which meant that they started in business in 1906. Also, I shared with you earlier the new application process for the establishing that has been established for ex gratia defined benefit pensions. And I want to say to all of those newly elected members of Parliament, here is an opportunity for you to extend your hands to help your constituents who may fall into this category and need assistance. And while I didn't get to complete the entire press release, it also says that if you want more information about the applications process and if you require and the required documentation, you can contact the Public Service Pensions Office as well for that. But this is a good opportunity for the members of Parliament to assist their constituents, especially those who do not hold ministerial positions or are not a part of government as well. Caller has called back. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning, O.C.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Your panel. To the gentleman there.
Yes, Mr. Loxley.
Yeah.
Are you hearing, Mr. Loxley? You hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was talking about the radio. I thought of something else, but back in the day, I remember O.C. Our choice of radio station was Radio Bonaire and Quito, Ecuador, and then later on we used to listen to WGBS. But now, O.C., we can't get those kind of radio stations? Is it because of the, ask Mr. Loxley, is it because of the radios now that we have, or what? But back then,
yeah. Well, what's happened is that the spectrum has become so crowded. Let's put it this way. Even though there are rules set up that you cannot put one frequency too close to the other, but right after the Cuban Revolution succeeded, the Cuban government put up a lot of what they call local radio stations all over Cuba, and they occupied a lot of these frequencies. That's why some of the what was called clear channel stations you could not receive it anymore.
Because they were jamming Voice of America and stuff like that.
Yes, even though they were low-powered stations, but if you were within a certain distance of it, it interfered with you. And really, you look at the Cayman Islands spectrum. You know, there's not another community, I don't think, worldwide that has the number of radio stations that Cayman has. If you look at it, and you know, something is really not quite right there.
I see.
And but that's the reason why they really got crowded out. Even the 50,000 watt station WSM in Nashville, which was one of the most powerful stations during that era, had problems breaking through, and it sort of depended on the atmospheric conditions and the sun rays and all this kind of stuff. Because when you start looking at frequency distribution and frequency how it works, let's see, that would have been 1958. So that's about how many years ago? That 58, 46, 24, 60, what 6 years ago. When I was in the Air Force.
59.
Yeah. We did quite a comprehensive study on radio wave propagation, and we did it with 2 nuclear bombs because heat affects the atmosphere. It scrambles all the modules, and you know it has a big effect on it, and it was quite revealing what came out. In fact, where we were at on this little rock in the middle of the Pacific, it knocked out communications from where we were at. Now, we exploded a megaton nuclear device. Actually, it was supposed to go up about 50 miles into the stratosphere, but the first one didn't. It exploded at about 15 miles from ground zero where we were at, and it knocked out communications in the mid-Pacific for about 36 hours. Nothing, Pentagon, nobody could break through it. And I was at the radio station, and of course we had a communications department, but one of the first communications that we got through from the Pentagon was, "Are you still there?" So, but you know, it's fascinating radio business, you know, and even though it's become more advanced in every way, it's still, you still got to go back to the basics. You know, they said Marconi, when he tried to send the first signal across from, I guess it was Dover, Maine, to somewhere in Scotland, you know, transatlantic signal, Radio World, which is a real reliable radio publication, has been around for a long, long time. But I guess 15 years ago, they decided to do a computer model of this and see really. Well, the question was, did Marconi hear anything? And the computer model came up and said, no, Marconi didn't hear anything. So if you imagine now, if the computer model was right, didn't hear anything, we'd probably be 70, 100 years backward in communication.
Yeah. Caller, you still there? Caller, are you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long Mr. Loxley going to be on? For the entire show?
Quite possibly. Depends on how the conversation goes.
Because I wanted to hit on another subject.
Well, go ahead. While you're here, go ahead. Before we go to our commercial break, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I heard you make mention just now about Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
But members of Parliament. But we're not too much of a Parliament because I think that's just the name that they came up with. Because Parliament is supposed to be supreme, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think our Parliament is supreme in any way, because then we got the governor that is about that, and then we're still a legislative dependent on the supreme Parliament in England,
in the UK, yeah,
and the UK. So we're not too much of a Parliament, because as far as I know, Parliament's supposed to be supreme.
Yeah. But like you said, the governor, by virtue of advice given by the UK, has to assent to any legislation that is passed in our Parliament. Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that, and I wanted to speak concerning pensions.
Mm-hmm.
To me, pensions in the Cayman Islands is a joke. That's a joke, O.C. That's a joke. I know where establishment pay full pension without employers contributing anything, and as soon as they roll over, then they're demanding their pension. They go for 1 year, and they're back here and starting another pension.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not pension. That's a savings account, O.C. That's just us saving them up money. That is the reason why they can send $300 and something million or whatever it is off the island a year, because they don't have to save no money here. They just know that pension is being saved for them to be able to extract it whenever as a savings.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like to me. So I think that whole pension thing got to be re-ramped. That's a joke. Because how can the pension scheme survive if every time somebody roll over demand their pension?
I think there's a time frame within which, unless they're transferring it to another pension scheme, I think there's a time frame within which they're allowed to withdraw it. I would have to check on the law to see, or if someone is familiar with that, they may want to shoot something off to us on our WhatsApp number 925-3261, or if they want to call in and explain it, as well. But I don't think that it can do it immediately. If they're transferring it to another scheme, then that's a different story.
And the immigration reform already sound like that being watered down, and then often come to they started watering it down.
Yeah, well, people's expectations were raised, but I don't think that we were given sufficient information, and maybe rather than raising expectations, they probably should have held back on some of what they fed us with, until they knew exactly, what's going to take place. Yeah. Because what it means now is that support is waning for it, and those persons who were praising, what was taking place now are a little bit more skeptical and a little bit more negative.
Yeah, because me myself, I called and told you that I was so optimistic about what was happening, and then when I know to learn that and this one is like temp, and the next one is like temp, and that not no. We don't get that for that.
Yep.
So I gotta be looking towards you and Dr. McField to advise me.
Mm-hmm. We will.
Forward. Yeah.
Once
Okay,
we know more.
talk later.
All right, Laurie. Graham, take care.
Okay.
Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation with Mr. Loxley Banks will continue. So don't change that dial if you want to know about the history of radio in the Cayman Islands and specifically the history of Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. You will hear it right here on For the Record with Mr. Loxley Banks.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit CaymanAirways.com/cargo.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me talking about radio history in the Cayman Islands and specifically more about Radio Cayman, former director of Radio Cayman, Mr. Loxley Banks. Before we go there, I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Wilbur Welcome, who has been appointed as the new director of the Department of Agriculture. So big shout out to Mr. Wilbur Welcome. Of course, I think he at one point in time was acting within the Ministry of Planning, Lands and Agriculture as well. But he has now been appointed as the new director of the Department of Agriculture. And I just want to say that we're looking for some big and better things coming out of the Department of Agriculture. So many farmers rely on the Department of Agriculture. Only a few days ago, I was talking to someone and they were lamenting the fact that so many things that you have to go either to the big box stores to obtain or go to the nurseries to obtain. Why can't we get it at the Department of Agriculture as well? Some people may argue and say, well, government doesn't really want to compete with the private sector, Well, if government can provide it cheaper than the private sector, what's wrong with competition? Compete against them and let them drop their prices down, as well. As a matter of fact, there was a rumor at one point in time that some of these entities were buying from the Agriculture Department at reduced rates and then reselling to the public at, exorbitant rates as well. So, Mr. Wilbur, welcome. Looking for big and better things coming from the Department of Agriculture. Mr. Banks, back over to you, sir.
Well, on this agriculture thing, I wonder, so why we can't have more citrus grown in Cayman, because years ago, everybody had a shaddock tree. Everybody had an orange tree in their yard.
Well, that's a name now that a lot of Caymanians won't recognize, the shaddock.
Shaddock, yeah.
The last ones that I used to see, and salt water, I think, killed them, was when you're going east through Savannah, after you pass Mr. E. Banks that used to work at CUC.
Craddock? No.
Stanton. Mrs. Stanton's house. On the left-hand side, before you get to the Seventh-day Adventist Church, there were about 2 or 3 shaddock trees there. And, because of the infusion of water when we have the storms and stuff, the salt water, I think they eventually died. I remember my uncle, Reggie Bernard, he had a big shaddock tree, also.
And I think they're the same thing that we are basically close to the family that they call the pomelo.
Okay, yeah.
And, the other day I bought a pomelo from Vietnam and didn't have much taste. Anyway, let's move back to the core subject.
No, we can always drift off. People want to hear those anything about Cayman history. Our listeners out there love to hear it.
And another thing that was very prevalent around here, and a lot of people used to eat them, juice them, chalamello.
Yeah. Well, when the first version of the terminal was built up there, because remember now that was opened 2 times. It was opened by Mr. Norman and then opened by Jim Borden as well, right? But they had a chalamello tree at that time that was there was a cleared area in before you enter the customs area, right on the right-hand side. There was a big chalamello tree there as well.
Yeah.
And Jew plum also.
You mentioned because that airport, when it was built in, I guess, 84, had 2 official openings. And Brother Will Borden, he had made some comment. One was one of the speakers at the first opening. And he made some comment that a lot of people took out of context. And I usually used to get into my office, 6 o'clock, 6:15 in the morning. And by the time I got in there one morning, I saw Brother Will come driving up. And this was it was the morning after they had the opening, driving up in his Minimote. And I said, boy, it is funny that Brother Will is up this early. And he came knocking on the door. I went and answered. He said, Loxley, I think I'm in trouble. I said, well, what is it, Brother Will? He told me what he had said. I said, Brother Will, that was nothing. He said, no, but my phone been ringing all night saying that I had compared so-and-so to Jesus. And, anyway, we did a little thing on the news with him, and, of course, it related right back to what, we were covering in the opening, and quieted it down. But, I mean, people can take things out of context. But, getting back to the establishment of Radio Cayman, I think I might have mentioned this before. In late 1963 or early 1964, and this was about 2 years, I think, because I think the old administration building burnt down in 66 now. Or was this?
Was it near to 72 somewhere?
Somewhere. Anyway. And but anyway, I put in for an application to establish a 1,000-watt radio station in Cayman with Bracken, Little Cayman coverage, but I never got anywhere with it. But I did a series of demo tapes as to what the programming would sound like, and Mr. McCoy and Mr. Vassell, who was sort of driving this process forward of trying to get a radio station here. I think Mr. Vassell was on development at the time, and Mr. McCoy, communications and works. So they said to me, well, why don't you bring your demo tapes out and let us hear it and see what you're thinking about. And I came out on a visit, probably over a week. Well, it wasn't a weekend, probably a week's visit. Brought my old, about 75-pound tape recorder and some demo tapes. And Mr. McCoy said, well, set them up. And this was the old government administration building. Set it up here and let's all listen to it. And I set up the tape recorder and started playing the demo tapes, which I didn't call the prototype Radio Cayman. I called it WILN Radio, and everybody quit working. And after about a half hour of listening to various different types of programming that I was promoting, Mr. McCoy said, "Well, you people got to get back to work because we can't listen anymore." So, but my association goes back to late 1963, right about a year and 2 years after I separated from the U.S. Air Force, and I was with Armed Forces Radio and Television Service for a while when I was in the Air Force, and it all sort of dovetailed in. Went back to school and for the engineering side of it and programming side and whatever, and I guess I was fortunate to be able to come back home and participate in this process, even though sometimes I wondered why it took so long from 1963, late 63, 64 until 1976 to really get a station established. But as I look back over it, the whole process, is a lot of bureaucracy, and the island didn't really have the funds to establish what they would be looking at, a really modern radio station. In fact, I think the original model was a bit overkill because they could have came in with something a little bit more basic that would have served the same purpose. But of course, I think over the last, the Department of Broadcasting was established in 1984. Yeah, that is the Department of Broadcasting, which operates Radio Cayman, and it was not funded for 1974, but in 1975 it was funded, and that's when things really got going. But that also had coincided with, you might recall, about midway through the cadastral survey that was happening island-wide, things got communications got a little bit muddled, and there was really an uprising just about happened down in Cayman, because the populace did not really, I think, thoroughly understand the value of what was happening, and there were certain regulations, so forth, that was being proposed that went against. One old captain from West Bay got up and said, "Don't tell me if I want to put a piece on in my kitchen that you're going to come tell me that that I can't put it on," and these kind of processes. But and it Radio Cayman, I think, is the lifeblood of communications here in the Cayman Islands, in all kind of situations.
Yeah, we're going to go to headline news at 9 o'clock. We do have a caller on hold. We're going to take that caller as soon as we return, and then I want you to talk a little bit about some of the skepticism of government officials and some of the restrictions that were initially placed on Radio Cayman in terms of what you could do, what you couldn't do, what you could broadcast, what you couldn't broadcast as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
If they are talking about us,
living in your head rent-free all this time,
we must be relevant. Radio Cayman since 1976. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
Today is UK Overseas Territories Day. The inaugural event took place last year, and it looks to raise awareness, foster pride, and strengthen bonds that, quote, unite diverse communities across the globe. Russian and Ukrainian delegations are in Istanbul for a second round of peace talks, hours after both sides carried out overnight attacks. On Sunday, Kyiv launched 117 drones on military bases deep inside Russia after Moscow's largest ever aerial attack on Ukraine the previous night. Volodymyr Zelensky, who's in Lithuania for a summit with allies, says that if the Istanbul talks, quote, bring nothing, then Russia should face new sanctions. An earlier round of talks in Turkey last month failed to bring about any significant outcome apart from a prisoner of war swap. And top secret intelligence files uncovered by the BBC confirmed for the first time that missing American journalist Austin Tice was imprisoned by the regime of the now deposed Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Former Syrian officials have also confirmed Mr. Tice's detention to the BBC. The U.S. government had previously stated that it believed he'd been held by the Syrian government, but the Assad regime continuously denied this, and nothing was known about the details of his detention. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
Radio Cayman. More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, our own Mr. Loxley Banks. We have a couple of callers on hold. Let's grab the first caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Me again.
Okay. Good.
Okay. Well, see, the term roll over.
Mm-hmm.
Right. When we use that, say, I'll be simple now. If we roll an object over and over, the spot that was facing us when we first start rolling it, we're going to see that again, right? If we keep rolling it.
Yeah, if you do a 360, yeah.
Okay, right, 360 degrees, right? Okay, no, because that's been happening here. We've been rolling people over. I know somebody here for 3 terms already.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep rolling, nobody go home for you. They're like a citizen here almost, right? And want to pay a work permit fee, right? You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not paying no PR fee. They're paying a work permit fee, but yet here, just as long as somebody that is on permanent resident.
Mm-hmm. But
right?
remember, bear in mind now, the PR fee is only a one-time fee, and after that, if you have permanent residence with the right to work, you pay the equivalent of what your occupation is. So, for instance, if you received PR and you were an accountant and you continue to be employed as an accountant, then every year you pay that fee, accountant fee. But the PR itself, that's a one-time fee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So, see, I want to change that, and that is to get. I gotta elaborate on that a little more. Rollover. I want that to change to roll out. We're gonna roll them out.
Mm-hmm.
You're gone. Out.
Mm-hmm.
You're out.
Mm-hmm.
Roll out instead of roll over.
Mm-hmm.
What OC I'm not happy with now is that I'm hearing that this new reform that is being established or want to come to the forefront. I don't know if it's going to be a white paper, green paper, but usually when they say they blacklist you, that's something bad. I think there's going to be a black paper because I'm hearing that they will start and give the person, everybody knows, 9 years starting whenever it be implemented. So suppose that person were here for 8 years or see, that wouldn't affect them. They're here now for another additional 9 years where gives them the opportunity to take us as far as privy council and all that kind of thing, like how they normally do, or see?
Mm-hmm.
So if they're here for 9 and was just about to leave, now they're going to be here for another 9 automatically. They're going to be able to stay for another 9. That gives them 18 years, or see?
Yeah.
And that...
If it's implemented that way, yes. Mm-hmm.
That is the core. I think they're just trying to be smart and try to play with our... Not even playing with our intelligence to think that we're a bunch of donkeys.
Yeah.
So
I don't
think that will go down well. And I accepting that. I personally will not accept that.
Yeah,
so,
and I say
out there that implement that, whether on my friend or not my friend, I tell them right now, they're not going down. If I catch one in the supermarket, and it could be with on a wife holding hand, I go to interrupt that whatever love affair I got going on and make them know how I feel about it. So, on to be prepared. Be prepared when you see me coming. Look over the shoulder. I am
go the opposite direction, right?
You better, because I'm not. I know to be listening on the radio, according to the calls and WhatsApps that I get as soon as I come off your show. They're listening, OC. I can tell you they're listening.
Mm-hmm.
They might be listening to the other propaganda, but they listen to you too.
Yeah.
Or they got somebody listening. So I'm making them know now. They're not gonna fly. That what Dr. Macfield said. That kite not gonna fly. Okay.
But I would say, Lord Graham, let's give them time. Let's see exactly what is going to be in the draft legislation first. But it is good, for you to continue to repeat, what you feel that they have explained in the way that your understanding of it, and the fact that you, as well as many other Caymanians, do not agree with that. And to me, at the end of the day, you know what it's going to come down to? It's going to come down, unless some compromise is reached, it's going to come down to the business owners and the people with deep pockets against the people of the Cayman Islands who want to see change. Because no one is talking about the risk, the existential risk that we are facing as Caymanians. No one is talking about that. They're talking about the bottom line, what is good for the economy of the Cayman Islands.
And that risk is vast.
Yes.
Let me display the little revolutionary part, now, which you got in you too. I noticed then, if that's the case, if they suppose they already come or see got it in mind and they come and implement it, what are we going to do if they go down to the house and vote that? I'm telling you now, they're doing nothing but provoking a social uprising in this country. They're provoking a civil uprising. Or see, I'm telling you, I get a lot of people calling me and telling me things, and we have to organize ourselves, and we have to visit people on a personal level instead of talking on the radio. That's what you're saying to me, OC.
Mm.
And that don't sound like that can go down well. I don't think they want to visit somebody to talk to them,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
It's a long time nobody not get the head pop in Cayman. that was a regular thing back in the day, you remember?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. So we talk later.
All right. Okay. Take care. Do we have another caller, Miss Susan? No other call. Okay. Back over to you now, Mr. Banks. Sorry.
Where do we leave off?
We wanted to to know about some of the challenges that Radio Cayman faced initially, some of the skepticism that was displayed within government, and some of the rules, on some of the things that you could and you couldn't do in terms of broadcasting at Radio Cayman at its inception.
Oh, well, we talked about its inception. There was a lot of technical hurdles that also had to be overcome, and a lot of it was bureaucracy emanating. For instance, and I just mentioned a major one when we went to put up the 300-foot. Actually, I wanted it to be 275-foot tower, and he's standing up on a bluff. The whole tower was supposed to be energized, so therefore we needed a big isolation pad, more or less, specially built to isolate the tower from the ground. Otherwise, everybody that went around it would get fried. But that didn't come in with the shipment, and it was delayed, I think, probably 3 or 4 months because they had to go out and create it, because those things are created according to the frequency,
the specs and stuff,
and the power and so forth and so on. But as far as the operational part of it, the kind of general mind trend that Radio Cayman should not be involved in politics. And I remember saying, "Oh no, you can't be involved in politics." And the first challenge came up right after we went on the air was when the '76 election came about, and I said to both Doran and myself said to Mr. Dunlop.
And I'm going to interrupt you there, just for our listeners who are not familiar with the entities that Radio Cayman, the Caymanians involved in it. Tell them who Mr. Doran Miller was.
Yeah, well, Doran was the senior news editor at the time. And he produced a lot of the historical and cultural programs that sometimes you hear parts of it on Radio Cayman today. But anyway.
And his background was he worked in Canada prior to that?
Yes, he spent, I think, about 15 years with the Canadian Broadcasting Company as a film editor. Back in those days, videotape had not been invented or had not come online yet, so it was all film. Film editor, which is the telecine machine and all this stuff. That was the conversion from, film to get it on the television. There was a in-between process called telecine that kind of transferred the information to television broadcasting. But anyway, they said, no, that's politics. And, I think Mr. Dunlop understood where we were trying to come from, but he was kind of, in with it's politics. I said to him, Mr. Dunlop, this is an opportunity for Radio Cayman to really blossom out. I said, we can't let it go. I said, can I go over and talk with, it was Mr. Desmond at the time. Mr. Desmond, he said, okay, I'll make arrangements for us to go over there. And I said to Doran, you want to go? He said, no, I don't want to go because I'm going to get too excited. Because he was very passionate about it. Anyway, we went over had a good conversation with the Dunlop and Mr. Desmond. And the results was, yes, we can broadcast the results of the '76 election. And that was a very pivotal election in Cayman. And, it was such a success, and that it kind of dampened the process or the spirit for, we can't be involved in politics, where they saw that we could handle it. We knew how to.
Can you imagine if they were around today?
I know, but looking back, the reason why we can do this today was because of those instances. And there was, I'd say, half a dozen other instances throughout
those
the year.
little incremental steps that you're able to take to get through it.
I mean, another one was the Siaga tapes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this was in I guess 76, in that period where Jamaica almost went communism, and Siaga was looked on as the main savior to come along an election time ago.
Right.
And he visited here. He used to come down here quite I'd say frequently anyway. And we decided, well, you know, we need to talk with this guy and see what direction he's going to take Jamaica in. And one of the main politicians that day, you know, you can't, and the words that he used, the words that the politician used, you can't let them come and wash their dirty hair. We said, well, no, they're not doing that. We're just, you know, they're regional. They're our next door neighbor. And
we were still connected, you know, to them economically as well.
Yeah. Huh? In fact, in this very studio, I sat in here on a Sunday morning with the politician and the Attorney General defending Radio Cayman case. And you know, it's still politics. No, it's not politics. You know, we're just doing what we should be mandated to do. Well, it caused quite a stir, you know, and the public got a hold of it, and the public had a better understanding of what, you know, and well, short story. We broadcast the tape, and Doran did the interview, and he had planned to go to Canada on that weekend, and he did the interview on a Saturday afternoon. When the story kind of broke on Saturday afternoon, because we made it known that we were having problems with this, and in a subtle way, and the public got a hold of it pretty soon, and the rumors started flying. Doran got the tape with him and gone to Canada. I said, so they called me up and said, did he have the tape? I said, no. I said, I got the tape in my office. I said, you know, and anyway, they came over and listened to it, and they were still with it. But, you know, we got the information out, and it was really nothing that shouldn't be in the public domain, you know, public eye.
Yep. Okay, let's. We have to come to you for a commercial break, right, Miss Susan? Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget, our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite Band-Aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. But don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
We were on the edge of a breakthrough. I knew the substance was extraterrestrial, but I didn't realize.
Aunt Angie, what does this have to do with managing my insurance?
Well, long story long, the entire lab exploded, and the radioactive sludge went everywhere. I ended up in the hospital for a few weeks, but I was able to manage everything with the CG Online portal.
The online portal. Safe, convenient, simple. CG Britk. Good like that.
Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Mr. Loxley Banks, talking about Radio Cayman, giving a little bit of the history of Radio Cayman. One of our listeners wanted to know, said to ask us to give an example where government competes and provides goods or services less than the private sector. Well, the one that I would look at would be like I mentioned, the agriculture department and the discounts that are given to registered farmers, health services, as well. I think when you compare, government hospital prices to private sector, might be different. I stand to be, I stand to be corrected, in relation to that as well. But we'll keep the conversation going on that one as well. We do have a caller. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Connor, the majority of people here is so excited that we have a new government and they're looking for a lot of new changes and a lot of new this and a lot of new that, and this immigration reform. Everybody's getting all excited. But listening to Graham Rankin this morning, if some of what he's saying got to come up in the wash, we may as well be doing what we're going to do right now with this reform and whatever else that they're going to bring here to better us in this Cayman Island. Because they say, they don't want PPM because PPM never did nothing and PPM is this and PPM is that. Now, if this government goes and do some of what Graham Rankin is saying, see, we are doomed. You may as well don't have no reform of immigration. And this thing about going home for so many years and returning back, when would Caymanian will ever get into the door if that individual have an opportunity to come back here and look employment and also being employed overseas on a computer doing certain jobs on the computer and still collecting a paycheck here in the Cayman Islands from the companies that they're working for. You understand? This is no justice for this island, for the people of these islands. I don't think it is fair what they're thinking that they're going to do. They just go and they want us to vote them in, and after we vote them in, they don't want nothing more to do with us. They go to make all their rules and regulations. They don't come back and ask us what we think. We have no input. They are the government now, not just this particular one, but all of them. They want nothing to do with us after we put them in, and it's not fair. Then they got to come out here when they're ready and give us a little partial of what their plans are. They don't go into no full details. They don't know all the odds, the do's and don'ts, and the problem it could cause here and there. Just like the cruise ship. They can't tell us yet how that's going to work. You understand?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And building a pier for a cruise ship. Mr. O.C., do these piers have restrooms on them that really boats are going into the house piers? I'll leave that there. You don't have to answer it now. We can answer it later. I just want to say, what I heard Graham say these last couple of days, it is pretty scary and very concerning. And I just hope that we, the people, stop getting excited because we're doing an immigration reform. And we don't know how that reform going to benefit us, the Caymanians of this beautiful place that we so-called home. I'll be talking to you later. You'll be on the air again later.
No, Mr. Charlo will be on this afternoon. And he will be on. But you can call into him as well. He runs, a tight ship. He has a good show going.
Yeah. In case I don't. One more thing. When we keep giving out these PRs and residents and all that kind of stuff, Mr. Connor, the first place the majority of these people are running to taxi. Where is the business for the taxes? And don't say we need a pair to get the business, because then I'm not going to buy that one. But anyhow, I'll leave that with you. You have a great day.
Thank you.
Good. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. we have a WhatsApp caller as well. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. O'Connor.
Good morning. How are you?
Okay, and good morning to Mr. Banks too.
Morning.
Yeah, when was it that Mr. Ken Smith joined Radio Cayman?
Mr. Banks, would you?
I think it would have probably been in the mid '80s. Yeah, I couldn't tell you the exact time right now, but it was in the mid '80s, early to mid '80s.
Caller, you still there?
It's WhatsApp, so I guess it's
okay.
Yeah.
And also, Mr. Doran Miller had a show. I think, was it every Monday or every other Monday night?
Every Monday night.
Yes.
Open line.
Open line. Yeah. And I remember calling into that at one point in time as well.
And well, we wanted to set it up before Mr. Dunlop left, but we just couldn't squeeze it through the holes. And the minute basically when I took over, that was one of the first projects that we tackled to get audience participation program going. But even that was a little challenge, because at that time, and that would have been in 1981, early 81, the original equipment with the station didn't come with any telephone interface systems. So I had, when we decided we were going to put it on, I called Reggie Nixon from Cayman Wireless at the time, and I think Oliver Hill, and I told him what I wanted to do. I said, why don't you all come home, we'll discuss it. And right in the studio where Susan is at, we discussed it, and I sat down and drew up a little simple interface circuit that if we could get that installed between the cable and wireless equipment and our equipment, we could sail. And well, Reggie said, well, I think we can, but we might not have all the equipment. I said, well, we got some, because they supplied us with a good supply of variety of parts in components, resistors, transistors. I said, I think we got enough stash in the back that we can put it together. And we did a little math on it and put it together and went on there with it, just a toggle switch, hand operated, toggling back and forth.
Okay, and you could accommodate only one caller at a time.
One caller at a time, but it wasn't too long before we built another little circuit and put in another toggle switch, and we were toggling and talking. That was a big success. And I'll never forget on one of the programs, and to begin with, people calling in, listening to themselves, and some of them wanted to listen to themselves.
They still do.
Yeah. This one lady called, and we had it on a 6-second delay, and she said she made some comment, and she heard it come back in her ear, and she said, "Listen to them, they took the words right out of my mouth."
That's a good one. One of our listeners said Radio Cayman was the site of the first wireless station that was run by Mr. Arthur Borden and Mr. Leighton Christian, I believe.
Yeah.
How was that transition to radio managed? Didn't use the same building, did you, at that time?
No. The building was decommissioned. Well, let's say the wireless part of it was sort of decommissioned maybe a couple of years before Radio Cayman came on the air. And when they were going to build this building, the building was knocked down, as the old folks say. But the wireless station, that was back in the days of Morse code. you know. And Mr. Christian, he was a master at that, at listening to the more. And you really have to have something flowing around between your ears to really. I worked with a guy. Well, he was actually ex-U.S. Navy communications expert, but he could take 55 words a minute on a typewriter, listening to Morse code. Now, that is really a feat for somebody to be able to do that. Of course, he had some other personality traits that he just kind of went in an oblique process way. But and open line, and there were quite a number of instances where open line really played a very important role in what we have now as communications. In that, and again, it came back to this: Radio Cayman can't get involved in politics, and some people were saying some things, but it wasn't anything that we considered was out of line. But there was a suggestion. In fact, I'm not sure whether it was put into a motion or it had been trying. They were going to try to put it into a regulation that the funding for open line and Radio Cayman, budget would be. I forgot what the word they used, but anyway, it would not be allowed. So therefore, we couldn't do it, and we went on the air and explained the situation to them, what was going on in the Legislative Assembly, and the uproar that it caused killed it dead. You never heard no more about it. And there was another instance where open line in Consuelo, the what we call it, she was all about the environment. Where there was a project underway. It was pretty much underway that they were going to dredge the North Sound. They were going to dredge the channel up there and expand it and so forth and so on. And, well, we did a program on it. And the results of the people saying, no, you can't do this, the project just gently sailed off into the unknown.
Okay. Got to go to a commercial break, and we do have a caller on hold. We will take that caller as soon as we return. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite Band-Aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. Don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Mr. Loxley Banks. We do have a caller. Before we go to the caller, though, want to say to you, those of you historians, and if you want to know about your history here in the Cayman Islands, so the government administration building that we spoke about earlier, the fact that it had been destroyed, it was destroyed by fire on Sunday, the 23rd of July, 1972. Sunday, the 23rd of July, 1972, our wooden government administration building was burnt down. Of course, there are speculation, there are rumors as to why it occurred on a Sunday and why it occurred, why the fire occurred in the first place, but we won't get into that. There's speculation out there. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning to you, sir, our host, and good morning to Mr. Banks.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Good to hear your voice. How are you?
Most certainly. I am grateful to have been a witness to when Doran was trying to walk the tightrope to make open line become part of our outreach to the public. It was quite a gigantic task, and it was remarkable to be a citizen trying to participate, understanding that there were powers that be that did not want it to be, and the consistent process which Mr. Banks and Doran pursued to make sure that it did not go away and that we could become the community that we emerged, where we could communicate over the air our grievances and our challenges and our respects and regards. Mm-hmm. And it has grown ever since. Those gentlemen, we stand on their shoulders, and they had to surmount enormous challenges. I cannot overemphasize that they were held with such strictures. It was fascinating that you read things in the compass that could not be reported. And here we are today, enjoying the medium that we have because of the courage, the commitment, and our politicians and our power brokers at the time were very powerful people who executed their decisions overnight. Mm-hmm. And I have to salute Mr. Banks for being here with his voice of clarity and helping us to retread and look back in the rearview mirror. As small as the rearview mirror is, everything that's behind there is remarkably important to where we are today.
So true.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Colin.
You know, in that respect, hopefully that within, hopefully this year we can get it back on. In 2000, well, actually 1999, you know, with all the Y2K, whatever you want to put that on there, we did a program called, we termed it 20th Century Perspective, 2.5-hour program. And in fact, Doran had retired at that time when he was in Canada, and because he went back to live in Canada. And really his health was not all that good. And when I told him, you know, I think we got to do this, he said, well, I'll come back and do it. I'll come back and help. And he came back home for, I guess, about 3 months. And we worked on gathering all the basic stuff that we could, going back to the turn of the 18th century that we had. And it's fascinating what existing, still exists in if you got time to research it and dig it out. It's fascinating, the information that exists. And we produced this 2.5-hour program. And hopefully that I will be able to get it digitalized here over the next couple of months, and we are going to represent it because that's 25 years ago, and that took us back about 150 years before that, and as I said, and Doran, his health was not all the best at that time, and he couldn't come in here every day to do it. So I said to Lomax, can we set up Doran a little studio up in Northside where he was staying? Well, yeah, Lomax said, well, we can get the equipment up there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And we went up there, and he was staying with one of his cousins, and they had a lot of space. And we set up a little production studio up there where he could do his commentary and edit.
Mm-hmm.
And back in those days, was still spicing block and razor blade. And so hopefully that we can get that digitalized and represent it in maybe a little different form, but it will be fascinating for people to hear that kind of history.
Carl, you still there?
The remarkable part of contribution is, and I'd like to answer that person who called in about who sent a message regarding what entity has been able to provide services cheaper than the private sector. Radio Cayman has provided invaluable commitment to airing all of these important public concerns, but also enabled entities like the Lions, Rotary, and all of those people to do their community work in tandem at a fraction of what it would cost otherwise, but the benefit was remarkably and invaluable. Thank you very much for your time, and hope for other callers to call in.
Thank you.
Yeah, public good is what it's called.
Yes. Thank you very much. We have one more caller we can take before we go to our last commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O.C. Good morning, Mr. Banks.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
You guys still sound very strong. You're bringing back a lot of Cayman memories.
Yes.
We need to resonate a little bit more often.
Mm-hmm.
And how I want sentiment, Lord Graham's comments about the new rollover policy. As we like you said, we haven't seen it, so we're just making sure that we putting our 2 cents out there that they don't fall into that trap. But we don't need it. We don't need another repeat of the 2003 Cayman status Damas grant.
Mm-hmm.
So if those people that in government now that are eligible for 9 years now, and they get an extra 9 years, what's going to happen? England is going, as they said, was England. He now last time told us that we had to grant all these services. We soon will have that mass grant again. So we're calling on the government to please don't fall in that trap. Try to highlight people because that one not going to go down as easy as the other one went down. So I like Lord Graham. I think we need to all stand up and make our voices be heard, that they don't go down that road. I don't know if you guys remember when Mr. Bush brought out about that they were going to do some taxes on expats. Every expat that was in Cayman spoke up against it, and some Caymanians spoke up against it. That they didn't agree to it, and it didn't happen. So we as Caymanians need to stand up and say, this is not happening this way, and we're going to stop for something.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, caller, for that. We're going to go to a commercial break very quickly. Someone said that they were remembering Miss Joy Brandon on the station. Of course, we have other notable names like the great Ed Bush as well. And when we come back and when you get the mic, Mr. Loxley, you mentioned Lomax Rankin. I wanted to talk about his role at Radio Cayman as well. Talk about his role, what he did at Radio Cayman. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now. Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman is proud to continue to serve our island community. During the last Lionistic year, they successfully carried out community projects like the Prostate and Colon Cancer Awareness Campaign, site screenings, spelling bees, swim meets, and their community food pantry. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman looks forward to continuing their service during the 2024-2025 Lionistic year and for many more years to come. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman. Where there's a need, there's a lion, serving the community for over 50 years.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're in the last leg of the show this morning. My pleasure to have in the studio with me Mr. Loxley Banks, former director at Radio Cayman, and, you know, one of the persons who were involved with the establishment of Radio Cayman as well. We do have a caller. I think we're going to make this caller the last caller, Miss Susan. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
We do have a caller, I think.
Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Or good morning. Welcome.
Okay, so Mr. Banks, you mentioned Lomax, Mr. Rankin. Tell us about him.
Lomax, you know, was the old folks here, a very important cog in the establishment when we actually got going. Because Lomax, you could ask him to do just about anything, and he would adapt to it. You know, he was an on-air person, and for many, many, many years, he did all of the Sunday broadcasts, because we used to broadcast 2 church services on Sunday, a morning service and an evening service, you know, and he handled all of that. So not only Lomax, but there was, you know, Tessa Bodden, you know, was one of the first news editors here, along with Dora. Wow. And, of course, we had Joy Brandon and you know, Ken Smith and Eddie, Ed Bush, you know, and Avery Eden, you know, was one of the original, and Cheryl Miller and Wanda Tatum from the BRAC. She was a librarian, and actually Selma Eden was she was the secretary, and not many people realize it, but Rex Rankin was here at the beginning in a sort of financial, but I never forget. And it was probably still remains one of the busiest news days in Cayman. Rainy day, I think it might have been October. Somebody called in and said, a small plane has landed in Governor's Harbor, you know, in the area. And, you know, when that was being developed, it had long strips of just marl.
That was dredged up, yes. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And they had an emergency, and they landed there. And Rex came in and said, Lucky, anything I can do? I said, well, and at that time I think Doran was in London. And I think maybe Tessa had a little problem somewhere, family or something. And so I was, you know, handling the whole 9 yards. And He said, then anyway I can have. I said, yeah. I said, you go down to, find your way down to Governor's Sound or Warren's Harbor, and just tell me what you see there, and if you want to make a few bullet points and come back and we'll do a story. Well, we got everything out that day, and but Rex was very, he set up a lot of the, and I think it's probably still being used here, a lot of the financial reporting things that we had in-house.
Okay.
I mean, we had Rex set up a process to where every month we could look at what we were spending, and just basic figure of what we were spending, what we were taking in, and Radio Cayman, not many people realize it, but it was set up on the premise that it would support itself.
Okay.
And those early days, we were supporting ourselves. In fact, we were putting money into the
government coffers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there was, the whole Radio Cayman process is a combination of everybody jumping in and doing their part. And Chalo, who's here for a long time, and he's kind of back again for a second stint. Yeah. In fact, there's some of the other ones that have been here may want to venture back in again.
we want to hear from Miss Susan, but she's so busy she's busy on the phone. You want us to grab that last caller, Miss Susan? No caller. Okay.
Well, let's get Susan.
She's on the phone. She's on the phone. So she's unable to at this point. Now we're going to get her in here. One of these days we will. We're going to have more of these conversations, because so much that I didn't know. Of course, I wasn't in home at that point in time. But the one that surprised me was Rex Rankin, for instance.
Yeah. And I've been saying to him, I said, you got to come in, and we can try to get him in here. And in fact, I never forget we had to create our splicing boards, and he said to me, and he was into a little bit of handiwork, handicraft, woodworking. He said, well, Rex said, well, why don't you come over to my house Saturday morning, and we'll create a board that you can work with, because you had to. It was something that you had to be comfortable with to get that cut just right. And I went out and spent a couple hours with him, and he came up with something, and it may be still around here.
Yeah, one of our listeners has advised that today Radio Cayman has Rex's niece working here at Radio Cayman, Felicia Rankin Silence.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yes. So we have about 7 minutes left. So I'm going to ask you to look into your crystal ball. And with all of the various platforms now with artificial intelligence and everything else, where do you see the future of radio? It has survived, every iteration, in terms of communications. Do you think we'll ever lose it?
Well, I think, the one thing that radio has helped radio survive is that you can take it with you wherever you go. And I have not seen anything popping up in AI, artificial intelligence, that looks like it would seriously degrade that process. But that's what keeps radio so vibrant, is that you can take it with you. You can, you got it in your car, but
plus you have the apps now and stuff like that.
Yes,
and,
it's being
it's adopted,
adopted all the time, improved all the time. And but BBC just recently, well, I've only heard it within the last 10 days. They have plans on the drawing board to get out completely of the broadcast spectrum. That is, radio station, transmitter, and so forth. And their service, and I believe they've put a target date of 1936 or 34.
2036?
Yeah. Because it would be it's quite a chore. Of course, artificial intelligence may move this and speed this up, but to transition everything from what we know now as radio, the transmitters, the towers, the phone, into online, internet fashion.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that they will probably run into there is that if that happens, they got to be careful that they don't discard 25-35% of the population because of the intricacies and the technicality of going online and doing you get older folks, and I believe that if I haven't seen any surveys lately, but people in the age group, I'd say 45, 50, up through whatever they go, occupy a great portion of listenership for anything that whether it be television, radio, or whatever. And many of them are not that au fait with all the computerization, and so and I think radio will survive the onslaught, and artificial intelligence will enhance it. Back I guess was 62, and my first encounter with what they didn't call it artificial intelligence at that time, but it was a project that IBM had online, and where I worked at in Florida, we were sort of one of the testing ground, one of the incubators of where we were identifying voice. In other words, I speak into the microphone, and we have a machine over here that would translate that into words immediately. That's really where artificial. Well,
because a lot of people think that artificial is something that's just been around. Now it's been around for a long time.
It's been around for a long time. I mean, when I was in the Air Force, we were landing the big B-52 aircrafts, by remote control, and the equipment that we used back in those days it would have taken just about all of this Radio Cayman building to house it. Now, it's being done from a laptop in Arizona. And I never forget, some of the landings were so, abrupt that the pilot would call the control tower and says, "Is there any more traffic coming in?" Says, "Because I got to stop this bird because every rivet, I think, in my fuselage has come loose." so get the sheet metal people ready because of the
the
doing
impact,
it with the remote control.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Loxley, I want to thank you very much. This has been a very interesting and revealing conversation this morning. And as Radio Cayman approaches its 50th.
Well, actually, the department has been in operation. Like I said, the department was formed in 1974.
Okay.
So, and that was really when the whole process of establishing Radio Cayman, got underway.
But we want to have, many more of these conversations. And of course, we have to rely on that institutional knowledge that we have here at Radio Cayman. But not only the institutional knowledge, but you have preserved so much, in terms of broadcasting, Radio Cayman, as well. And I know that you're looking forward to having them transferred digitally as well?
Digital, yeah.
Okay. And we want to thank all of those persons who contributed this morning as well. I urge you to join Mr. Charles Glidden-Shallow at 12:15 for Talk Today. Have a great day, and please stay safe.
And before we go, we never got Susan in, but she's been in this process, I think, since she was 15 years old. Now she's what? She's 18. But
yes.
And I recall when she sent me her first tape.
Wow.
Playing radio. She's in the real thing now,
Right. And doing such an excellent job,
Yes,
great job
yes.
as well. Folks, take care and God bless.
Information, entertainment, inspiration.
Covering Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, Cayman Brac.
Since 1976 till now.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For the record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury.
And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop